Welcome to On the Clock with Bluechip Prospect and Prospect Dawn. This is a podcast that we talk all things NHL draft and prospects. So thank you guys for listening and welcome Bluechip Prospect.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great. Coming off the combine, I feel like I'm on cloud nine a little bit. I don't know how they let me in. I think it was an accident, but it was an awesome experience.
Yeah, for sure. I heard there was people over there wanted you to work for them and
Yeah, Kyle Dubas offered me his job, and I
yeah,
was like,
cool.
I'm working on this podcast with Bluechip. I don't think that.
Yeah, I don't have time for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and what's his position in Pittsburgh? It's like president of hockey operation or something like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
you
just
don't need
I don't
you
need
don't
that.
need that when you have your own podcast. You don't need that.
No. And like
Uh,
he was nervous to talk to me, I think, is what it really was.
yeah, for sure, for
He's
sure.
like, your prospect on? Holy crap.
The one and
You know,
only.
yeah. And then his three colleagues came over and was like, "Oh, prospect on high." No, but I didn't want to talk to them because they weren't Kyle Dubas. But, yeah. So today we're going to be doing a mock draft, and this is always a very exciting segment or topic because everybody loves mock drafts, and it's going to be a
Yeah.
post-combine mock draft because you hear a lot of stuff at the combine. I didn't realize it. I don't know if they were talking to me per se, but I heard a lot of stuff by going like, what are they saying over there? And I'm really sneaky with that stuff. Like I'm really flexible, so I can hide under tables and hide. I'm really good at hiding.
Okay.
So I feel like
That's
I
great.
learned a lot on this class. So to start off, I feel like if you wanted to take the odds so that I can hear what your Blackhawks opinion is now,
Yeah.
I would love it
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
took the odds, and then I'll take the evens because there's someone at 4 that I would love to talk about as well.
All right, cool. Yeah, I have no problem with that. And the cool thing about doing not a podcast, but a mock draft after the combine is not just what you heard over there too. It's also all the news coming out of it.
Yeah.
Like basically every beat writer from every single team that went there or talked with people, they have different rumors that they hear. So we're getting a lot closer to the reality. When you do those mock drafts like 2 months out of the draft, like you have a little bit of a clue what's going to happen, but it's not that accurate. But after the combine it becomes a little bit more accurate on what's going to happen. But then at the same time, you go to the draft and then Beckett Seneke goes number 3. So
Yeah.
so yeah, we never actually know. So, all right, so at number 1 for the Islanders, like I did a mock draft myself a couple days or like a week ago, something like that, where I picked every player as if I was the GM for that team. And I picked Michael Misa because I think a 1C is probably more important than a 1D. In my opinion, I would always go with offense before defense, even though I know there's a saying where defense wins championship. I don't think that's true. But I think in the reality of things, I think there's enough of a gap between Schaefer and Misa to say that they will go with Schaefer. So in my opinion, I'll go with Matthew Schaefer at number 1 for the Islanders.
I think that's the way that it's going to play out. Everything that I heard is Matthew Schaefer is an incredible interview. I mean, this guy is so down to earth. He did all the right things. I would be absolutely shocked if the Islanders did not pick him. And one snippet, because I don't think it's going to be in this mock, that I heard a lot, where the Islanders are very interested in jumping up to try to get James Haggins as well as Matthew Schaefer. So that is something that they are serious about. Absolutely serious. They are not content with just taking Schaefer. They want the hometown kid and James Haggins, and I feel like it would be a fantastic opportunity for them after stealing Matthew Schaefer.
Yeah.
This team was a playoff team almost. I mean, a couple of games, and they would have been a playoff team.
How they're going to do that, I don't know.
I don't either.
Because even if you say I'll give you my first next year unprotected, it's not good enough because they are one of those teams that's like stuck in the middle. They're not actually not a playoff team, but they're also not that bad where you can predict them to be a bottom 5 team next year. So they're gonna have to give a lot, and at the same time, they don't want to give NHL assets because they want to compete. That's basically what Matthew Daff said when he was hired. Like he thinks the team is too good. The players that he have are too good to be an actual team that's not in the playoffs. So he wants to be like do a quick turnaround. But adding a Schaefer and adding Egan's on top of that would be fantastic. I just don't know how they will do it.
The one thing I will say is, because I completely agree with you, the Avalanche trade opened the door when they got Colin Ritchie and that
Yeah,
first round pick for Brock Nelson. That did open the door, and they feel like those were free assets because he was already going to leave and he was not
yeah,
interested. I mean, the Colorado Avalanche already signed him to an absurd contract, in my opinion.
hmm
I think it was a
yeah,
little over what he should have been paid, and they also have the
yeah,
42nd pick. So, and they also have Cole Iserman. Paired those up, I don't think they're going to trade Cole Iserman because James Hagens and Cole Iserman are
yeah,
tight, and I think that they would be
yeah.
actually a really good pair. So when I heard that, I don't think that that was true, but they do have a lot of assets. So for number 2 is San Jose. I think that they're going to be running to their phone, as we continue to say, because it's decentralized draft, to Michael Misa. Michael Misa had an incredible year in the OHL this year. He was number 4 on a lot of people's lists earlier in the season, and I just thought that was kind of nuts. This guy can skate like the wind. He's very versatile. He could play wing or center. I mean, just
hmm
I could not imagine that top 6 for the San Jose Sharks in the next couple of years. It is loaded. So I don't know what he's going to play, but I think if he plays center, it allows him to play with Igor Chernyshov, and it allows Will Smith to go up and play with Celebrini. So I really think that that would just kind of be the best case scenario for
Yeah.
them.
And they can always like trade one of those players to get a
Yeah.
defenseman if that's what they need to do. Like if they get to the point where they're close to competing, but they still don't have any defensemen in the pipeline to fill that top 4, because right now they basically have like one sure shot top 4 defenseman. Like they have Sam Dickinson, but outside of
Dickinson,
that,
yeah.
Cagnoni is not a sure shot. Like he when he was at the NHL level, he was pretty terrible. He was good in the AHL, but in the NHL, that was a very different story. And Muka Medellin, is he a top 4 defenseman? It's questionable. Like maybe a number 4 at best. So like they don't have a lot on the back end. It takes time for defensemen to be impactful players. So I think the way it's going to go down at some point is they're going to evaluate who to trade, and they're probably going to trade a forward to get a defenseman, or that rebuild is going to take forever. So it's a it's their choice, but yeah.
I completely agree. The one thing I will say that I don't think that I've talked about on this podcast is
Mm.
the San Jose Sharks have the 33rd pick, as well as another top pick. So what is it, 29?
No,
Yeah, they have 30.
that's not really enough to.
Well, you could package up, try to get a defenseman, but yeah, like you said,
Yeah,
their
but who?
defenseman is light.
Like even if you package up both, like
Kayshawn
29
Aitchison.
and 30. Yeah, but like Cation HSN is probably gone in the first half of the draft.
Yeah.
Like very, very likely to be gone in the first half of the draft, or at least top 20. So to go from 29 to top 20 with your second rounder, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. And
If you were, I just want to propose this trade to you. If you were
yeah,
a Habs fan, I mean, obviously you are, but if you were the Habs GM, would you accept 30 overall and 34 for 17?
no, not at all.
Okay.
No, especially not in this draft.
Mhm.
Because the thing is that the Habs right now, where they're placed, they are at the very edge of where there's a pretty good drop, in my opinion. Like there's a chance they can get a player like Lakovic. There's a chance they can get a player like Justin Albano, or a defenseman like Cation Aitchison or something like that. Once you're like, if Cation Aitchison jumps into the top 16, or maybe a Cameron Reed jumps into the top 16, then it pushes 2 players back that the Habs can get. And after that, once those 2 players are gone, what's left? There's a lot of talented player, but there's a lot of undersized talented player. Like you can get a Potter, a Gereshny, a Kendall, and everything else are a little bit of question mark, like a Jack Nesbitt or Blake Fiddler. It's like
Mhm.
you're not in the same conversation, at least at this moment before the draft. Like maybe in 5 years it's going to be completely different, but right now it's not the same conversation. When you talk about a Cole Rezhny or Braden Coots, or you talk about Lakovic or Justin Albano or something like that, it's not exactly the same level of player as right now, at least. So I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do it. But it's because the Habs need high end talent more. They need depth. Like if they need depth, if then I would say yes, but it's not the case. They already have that. So yeah. So
Fair.
no. So next at number 3 is Chicago. And like they are linked to Frondel on basically every website, every writers, everybody puts Frondel at number 3. So it's really hard to go against that. Would it be my choice? No, but this is not what's the point of this mock draft. The mock draft is what we think should happen, what we think will happen, and I think it's going to be Anton Frondel. So he measured at like 6'1", almost 200 pounds, something like that. So like he has the two-way game, he has the shot, he has some of the offense creation. There's work to do there, but it's not like he put up great numbers in the Allsvenskan, so like there's a lot to work with, and there's a long pedigree to with him. Like we've heard about Frondel for years now. It's not like he exploded just this year. Last year, everybody knew about Frondel, and the year before that, everybody knew about Frondel. So yeah, I'll go with Frondel at number 3. And would that make you happy, or?
You know, Frondel is becoming a little bit of an underrated player. Obviously, the odds
Yeah.
and every reporter has him going to the Blackhawks. He's minus 160 now after being plus 600 when the odds opened up. And, I'm in contact now, and I'm going to be, this is breaking news, but Marcus Kruger, a former Blackhawk, plays on his team. So I'm going to actually have him on and talk a little bit about Anton Frondel before the draft, because I think the sense is that it is going to be Anton Frondel, and I just want to get to know a little bit more about the player. And he's obviously booked up until the draft, but I think that Anton Frondel is one of those kids that has a ton of upside. His vision is great. His transition game will get better going from the SHL larger rink size, as I continue to say, to the American rink size. When his one knock is his transition game, which I think is a little overblown in my opinion and overused, just basically on the charts and cards. I think that it's only going to get better. He has a great, fantastic shot. It's heavy. He's going to be able to play versatile wing or center. I think that he could be a great center, but if you have him on Bedard's line, I think it would be fantastic. It's kind of Marian Hossa-esque, and not that he's going to be the back checker Marian Hossa was, but if you get a player like this, he's just somebody solidified in your top 6. And I feel like James Haggins is smaller, who would be kind of the pick here. He is smaller, and he has more of boom-bust upside potential. So I feel like Chicago wants the safer plays because they have so many picks. They want safe, they want high floor, higher upside plays than other teams, just because they can't afford to have a bust in this rebuild, especially this high. So I think the later picks, the Chicago Blackhawks are just going to go upside, upside, upside with every other pick that they have. But with Frondel, it's going to be safer. Plus, he's kind of more NHL ready than anybody else, too. The only knock on him is Victor Eklund was play driving, as you said previously in our videos. Like, he was the play driver every single time you turn on a game. Victor Eklund was the guy that was like, wow, that guy's skilled, because he just was. If you get a player that, I don't think Frondel's a play driver. That's why I would want him on a
even without Eklund, like Frondel is not going to drive offense.
No.
He's gonna find space and shoot or jump on rebounds, but that's what his game is. He has limited not power play, limited playmaking ability. Like his vision is okay. It's not bad by any means, but it's not great. His skating is okay. Like it's not great. It's not bad. Like at number 3, it's. I mean, I would take. If I had the choice, if I really wanted a center, it could be Caleb Desnoyers, it could be Anton Frondel, it could be James Higgins.
Yeah.
Personally, maybe I'd go with Desnoyers or Higgins. I think Frondel will be the last one on that list. But I would probably go with Markham if it was my choice.
He is 4th on my ranking for who we should be taking out of 4 players. But because, like you said, it would be Martone Haggins or Haggins Martone. It's interchangeable, honestly, based on what role you want. It's your type of T. And then Desnoyers based on the defensive and the Selke kind of upside, as well as the true center, so that you can bring Nazar up and play him on a wing with Bedard, because he does not play under 5'10". He plays with the like a lot of hard skill tenacity. He's kind of like a smaller Carter Bear with more speed. And then you have just Caleb Desnoyers mantling the 2C spot, so it's a 1-2 punch with Connor Bedard. I think that would be perfect. Frondel is just, it's going to be the case, so I'm just trying to play devil's advocate of why it could be, but he would not be my first, second, or third option.
I think there's a fair chance that Anton Frondel is like Anton Lundell with a better shot. which
Yeah,
is like
yeah,
Lundell is a good player, and in the playoff right now, he's really good. Like he's a big part of the reason why they get where they're getting every single year. The Panthers, Lundell is part of that, but he has like 45 points on the season. So
yeah.
obviously, Frondell is probably gonna have probably more goals than that because when you put
Goals,
him
yeah.
on the flank, he can just score. Like if you get him the puck with a nice pass, he can really just rip that heavy one timer like every single time. It's amazing. It's really really good. I don't think his shot is Cole Zerman level, but it's not that far behind. And so there's that. But yeah, I think it's an Anton Lundell with maybe a little bit more of a scoring touch. But well, you'll see. It's your team, so it's okay. All right, so number
And
four,
then,
that's you.
yep. And then for Utah, what I'm hearing is Brady Martin everywhere. In the smoke, where there's smoke, there's fire. But for me, I just can't put Brady Martin over guys like Desnoyers, James Haggins, Porter Martone. So I
Yeah,
know that if they take Brady Martin, it's got to be a trade down. Like they have to have a team in mind that they're like, okay, we're comfortable taking him. Maybe the Flyers jump up to try to take somebody that they really like because
yeah.
Boston could take him at 7. So, but I'm going to say that Utah goes with Caleb Desnoyers here because obviously they really like him. I've heard that they like him a lot. And he's just somebody, like I said, 2C potential. He's a true center. I think that they have a lot of top 6 options too. And then they just have so many prospects coming up. Like,
Hmm.
Logan Cooley is really good too. Clayton Keller is awesome. Dylan Gunther is awesome. Like Daniil Boot, Shimashev. I mean, they just have a plethora of players. And I just think Desnoyers would just fit in really well with them. You know, he's going to be really great defensively. He had 2 bum wrist that he disclosed to that.
Yeah,
It was way before the Mem Cup too, so he was doing that before the playoffs. So the fact that this guy was destroying the Q before then, I think it kind of increases his potential a little bit too. The Bunker Boys were telling me a lot about this because I asked, like, doesn't a wrist injury hurt him? Because, you know, that's just an added injury that you have to look at in the future.
hmm
But they were like, no, because this guy is all hands. I mean, the fact that he was performing the way he did, it was just kind of incredible. So I think Desnoyers will go top 5. I think he is going to go before Martone for sure, and I don't think consensus is going to like that very much. And I do think that Haggins does fall to Nashville, so I think that Desnoyers is just going to be the pick because I don't think it's Martin, in my opinion.
yeah. Uh, I can't see it. Like I love Martin as much as everyone else. Like I really like basically his hitting. Like it's the main part of his game. Yes, he has some offense, but it's not like he has crazy shot, crazy skating, crazy playmaking. He might even be a wing in the NHL. But the way he hits and all the hits that he has, it's not like he's going to do that at the NHL level. Like you're not always constantly gonna take yourself out of the play to go hit somebody. Like nobody does that in the NHL. Like no actual top 6 player plays like that. Yes, Sam Bennett. Like this is basically the comparison for what's his name, Martin. The comparison for Martin most of the time is someone like Sam Bennett or something like that. And Sam Bennett, he doesn't have like 300 hit on the season or something like that. Like he's efficient in the way he's going to hit, and he hits hard, he forechecks hard, and that's what like maybe Brain Martin can bring. But Sam Bennett is not the type of player I think you want at number 4 in a way. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like he's a good player, he's great in the playoff, but like I don't know. I think it would be a little bit of a reach. So I agree with Caleb Denoyer. Caleb Denoyer can bring you some physicality when he gets like stronger. Obviously, right now he's lean. He's like 170 something at 6'2". But at some point he's gonna get stronger, and he knows how to play. He plays hockey the NHL way, so he knows that he has to compete. And I think it's more important to be intense on the puck and heavy on the puck and win your battles and things like that, as opposed to hit everything that moves on the ice. Like your intensity is more important than your physicality, in my opinion. So like if you can have a little bit of both, then plus you're a much better playmaker, much better hands, uh, and you're a center like basically for sure at the NHL level. I think Caladinoy is a no brainer, or Higgins, but Caladinoy is good too.
Yeah, that
So yeah.
was awesome. I agree.
So number five, and number five is Nashville. Um, hmm. Well, everybody put James Akins at number five. It's simple. You look every mock draft, it's always like James Akins falls to number five. Like Chicago doesn't want to take him because they're a little bit too small. And then number four doesn't want to take him because they like size two every time. Um, and I think I'll do it again because at some point he's just extremely talented. Even though he didn't have the season we expected out of him, he still had a good season. It just didn't click that much with his teammate in Boston. But otherwise, I mean, the skill level is still there. The skating is still there. The vision is still there. He has a great shot. Like he has a lot of element going for him, and you can see them in every single game. It's just about uh, like repetition, just getting better, playing a more NHL style. He goes to the inside, even though he gets locked on the outside a little bit by bigger defensemen, but he's going to learn how to cut to the inside at some point. And like, even if you look at his chart of goals, I think they're mostly from the inside. So, he's capable of producing there. So, yeah, James Higgins at number five for Nashville, like everyone else.
I completely agree. I got to talk to him for about 20 minutes. We both had waters at the combine, and he was just a really great kid. One of the things that actually surprised me about the NCAA kids that I didn't actually notice, because I've never seen them live, basically, without all their equipment and everything, was that they are built. And not like they're just... You could tell that the NCAA development program is more about weightlifting as well as, or it's consistent weightlifting as well as nutrition and what you're eating and stuff. So James Higgins was built in his lower half a lot bigger. It's not Bedard-esque, but it's a notch down, but I was still very surprised. As well as Colin Potter, I'm going to throw that out there because Colin Potter's arms are enormous. So whatever they're doing at the NCAA level, it's working, and it also makes me feel better about a lot of the kids that have not put on that muscle, and then they are going to the NCAA, because it is very awesome to see. I mean, these guys are probably working out 4 or 5 times a week and eating, and then protein and everything is just... I mean, there's just so much you do at that kind of program instead of playing like 4 or 5 games a day or a week. So I thought that was
a
day. So I thought that was something that
well,
James
obviously
Higgins, I was surprised with.
you play half the match basically in a season. You play like 30 something match as opposed to 60 something. So you have more time in the gym, but it's not just that. You have also a lot less time to burn those calories.
Yeah.
So even if you can go to the gym 4 times a week in the CHL, you're going to be burning so much more calories through the season, and after that the playoff, and so it's just a much longer season, many more games, and then maybe you add over that like the international tournament. So at the end of the day, they play like 80 games in the season or something like that. Even if you go to the gym 3 times, 4 times, and you lift heavy and you eat your proteins and all this stuff, it's going to be burnt the next day. So there's nothing you can do. It's the same thing in the NHL. A lot of players, they start heavy in the season, and by the end of the season, they're a lot less heavy because they can't catch up. Even though you eat many thousands of calories a day and you go to the gym and you have state-of-the-art equipment and people behind you to tell you what to eat, how to train, and do all this stuff, at some point, it's a calories in, calories out thing. So, like, yes, in the NCAA, not only you can go more to the gym, but you also have less time to burn them. So,
yeah, very well put.
So number 6? Yeah, number 6.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Jake O'Brien here based on a lot of stuff that I had heard. I think Jake O'Brien will be the pick. Obviously, incredible playmaker, really great vision. I asked about his passing and how every puck is flat, basically, with Nick Lardis, because people call him a power play merchant, but that's just untrue. It's just a specialty that he also has on his game. So imagine him and Mitchkov together on a power play. But Jake O'Brien said that you're just kind of born with that skill. You're born with that vision, the playmaking, and it made me fired up. And I think it fired up the rest of the media scrum, because when you have that kind of ability and you know how to use it, as well as you're continuing to grow, and you're more raw than we saw. Like, he is raw. But the thing is, he brings a lot of upside, and his floor is also bigger because of his hockey IQ and his vision. So I think you're getting an absolute stud here. I think that there's an opportunity for Jake O'Brien to be an absolute star in the league. There are weaknesses and things to question in his game, but I think that because of how raw he is, we can see a completely different player at any year of Jake O'Brien, and he already is a very great point producer. He was the best player on his team in Brantford. Rip Zach Hyman, and Nick Larda scored 72 goals. So, like, how good
Yeah.
was he? You know, everybody talked about how good Jake O'Brien was. I just really like his game, and I think Philly is going to take him.
Yeah, and I think like most of what he has to work on is basically his pace, right? Not necessarily his skating itself. The skating looks fine. It's more like the pace at which he plays with the puck. Like he loves to have the puck on his stick and he keeps it for a long time before making a decision on what he's going to do. Or he already knows what he's going to do, but he just takes a lot of time to be deceptive and then do what he wanted to do. So like I think myself, I would love to work with somebody like that, somebody that has the IQ, somebody that has the vision, that has the size, that has the skating, that has the hockey sense to execute play faster. Like this guy has the vision and he has the hockey sense to be able to play faster. It's just that you have to help him get there. And I don't like it's not like he's the first guy that play a more junior, slower kind of type of game in the CHL that has to like execute faster if he wants to get to the NHL. Like I remember Nick Suzuki when we grabbed it from Vegas. Uh, he was not a fast player with the puck. He was a little bit like Jake O'Brien. He was a great playmaker, but kept the puck a lot on his stick. And I remember reading that the Habs brass went to see him and say, next year you have to work on your execution speed. Like challenge yourself to make decision faster. It's okay if you make a mistake, but like you have to program your brain to make decision instantly because in the NHL, the first thing every player wants to do is take off time and space. So if you don't have that ability to play within players that want to take off time and space, then it's not going to work. So Jake O'Brien, that's what he has to do, but he has the skills and the vision and the hockey sense to do that. So that was a lot of words to say not a lot.
No, I completely agree with you. They're like that was really well said. I think everybody should smack the like button in the comment or in the description because that was awesome.
All right. So for Boston at number 7, who do we have left? Well, I'm always tempted to go with a guy like Roger McQueen because it seems to fit the mentality. Like last year, they took that. Never remember his name, but
Dean
that
Letourneau?
giant. Yeah, exactly. They seem to like size. They were always a team that was physical. At least that's their identity. And Roger McQueen kind of fit that. He has a lot of skills. He's center. And I don't know if you heard anything at the combine about his health, but from everything that I've seen or read, it's not as bad as it seemed or something like that. So me, I'll go
Yeah.
with Roger. I'll go with Roger McQueen at number 7 for Boston because he really fits the mentality.
So Roger McQueen talked about his health a lot. Obviously, it was one of the main questions that was asked during his media scrum, and he was healthy enough to participate in the bench press as well as the pull-ups, and that means that he participated in everything. The back was a misdiagnosis, and he's been pain-free for about 30, 40 days now. I think that is absolutely incredible. I mean, now it's more 40 days, and he even said like he's pleasantly surprised, but I mean, there was a misdiagnosis. It wasn't as bad as everybody kind of assumed, and I think it's really going to help his draft stock because he is a 6'5" center with that much soft skill, and his edge work is absolutely incredible. If you ever see this guy turn and shoot, I just think that he's going to be a star in the league if he hits, and Boston's going to turn him into a star. If Boston gets him at 7, I think he's a star, in my opinion. It's going to be between McQueen and Martin, so they're going to have the pick of the litter here. I do not think that Boston's going to be a team that trades up because they're getting their player that they fell in the lap. Don Sweeney saw McQueen multiple times this season in live viewings, and he doesn't really do that. So I think that this is just kind of a shoe-in here, and I think it's a great pick.
Yeah. I said it multiple times. I wouldn't like it, but if it fits.
Like, don't you think like if Bruins are taking him, he's just going to be a star because that's how it works with the Bruins? I know that's terrible scouting, but it's like that is how it works. It's so weird.
I think there's a good chance he's going to be a star no matter where he's taken. I don't think Boston is that much of a factor, but I think it fits like a lot of players, even the smaller one, when they go to Boston, they play a certain style, and like they really like, I don't know how to say that, but they get into that mentality of intense physical player, and even if they're smaller and they never necessarily played that way, they start playing that way. So Roger McQueen already has it, but maybe he's not always the most intense player on the ice. So maybe he gets a little bit more of that, fire inside of him, and that Boston can bring inside, like can bring into his player, and that could really help him. But I think that he has a lot of chance to be a star no matter where it goes, not just Boston. Like
Yeah.
Montreal would be great.
That would be absolutely incredible if they could trade up together. But Seattle at 8, this is going to be where I take. Every mock draft that I've been on, Martone always goes here when he falls. But I really want to take somebody else here. But I'm going to take Martone. Martone is just that kind of guy. I really like Martone's game. He has a great shot. I think it's very underrated. His vision is underrated. He's obviously 6'3". He's a true 6'3". He played on Hockey Canada for a reason. They really like his game. I think that if there's somebody that keeps falling and there's no reason why, it's kind of McQueen. It's just kind of, Martone. Sorry, there's so many M's.
McQueen, Martin, no.
Yeah. Like, Martone is just Merca. Dude, yeah. I was gonna say him, but if Seattle is not bent on taking Merca and keeping him in Seattle, and Martone is falling, because I think Merca would be the pick if Martone wasn't falling and McQueen was still on the board and it just went a different way. I think that it's going to be Martone, best player available. I think that he probably should go top 5. I think that he could go top 3. It's really interesting that if he doesn't go 3, he falls to 8 in every mock draft. Like, maybe I feel like there's going to be a surprise pick that somebody takes him that we're not talking about. I don't see Philly doing it. I don't see Nashville, and I don't see Utah, so I don't know who it's going to be. But I just feel like there's no shot that Martone is going to consistently fall to 8. He's just too good of a player. He possesses so many incredible offensive skills, and his defense isn't that bad. His first 3 strides are terrible. But 3 years ago, they've only gotten better. Like, if you watched him, I talked to Chris Peters about this because I asked him about his skating and what he thought about Martone. He was like, Martone has only gotten better. I mean, it's been a tremendous rise on what he can do with his skating. Once you get him with NHL coaches and an NHL program, it's only going to get better as well. So I'm like, well, now you're making me think here. Maybe the Blackhawks see that too. I mean, obviously Chris Peters talks to people around the league too, and I believe that he has the same ideas as everybody else. So I think Martone's skating is just a little overblown a little bit. Obviously, the first 3 strides are the most important thing, but he's a good skater. He's not slow. He'll get you to point A to point B. So I feel like Seattle would be lucking out getting Martone here. I think that they would want to trade up to get him or somebody in this range. My biggest guess is somebody that is outside of this range and Martone is falling. They're going to try to trade up for him. He's going to be one of those guys that somebody tries to trade up for. So that's kind of my thought process on Martone.
Yeah, and I think like the reason why he's falling in basically every mock draft, like if he doesn't go at number 2 for Chicago, he goes to number 8 at Seattle or something like that. It's mostly because every team are starved for centerman, and the draft is heavy in centerman. So even though like he's in the same tier as all of those players, because he is on the wing, that's something that's playing against him. It's not necessarily that he's not as good a player. I think he's better than some of those players, but it's just the fact that he's a winger. There's nothing you can do about it. And Seattle, they took a lot of center. They took Beniers, they took Shane Wright, they took Catton, who might be a center, might not be a center, but one way or the other is going to be a high-end player. So they're really like loading that front, the top 6, basically. So I could see a team trying to trade with Seattle. Like if a team have a good defenseman prospect, they could like give a first plus a good defenseman prospect and try to move up a little bit to grab like a Martone that's sliding down a little bit. But but I think it fits. It fits the team. Even though they would probably like to have a defenseman, it really fits the team, and it's going to give them a really, really good top 6 in the future with all the players they've been drafting super high in the draft. They're all forwards. So.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So next at number nine is who? It's Buffalo. Well, I don't know if you heard anything, but Buffalo, if Murtka is there, I always put Murtka at Buffalo because at some point they need a right shot defenseman. They need to stop with the 5'11" players. Like, yes, Eklund is a better player than Murtka in my opinion, but I think at some point Buffalo needs to build a team and stop just taking best player available, but never actually build a team that can play together, that can like battle when it's time to try to contend for the playoffs. So I'm gonna go with Red and Merca, and I don't have much to add on that. It's the player I give them every single time I do a mock. So if he falls there, so sometimes I feel like Red and Merca could go to Seattle too,
Mhm.
but in that case, it's going to be Buffalo.
I have been saying this for about 3 months. Merca is going to be the second defenseman taken off the board, and he's going to go in the top 10. For the last 15 years, there's been two defensemen in the top 10 every time, and there's
Yeah,
multiple teams that have needs. I think that Merca is going to be the guy, 6'6", right-handed defenseman. He was incredible
yeah.
in those interviews. Me and him go back and forth all the time. He's freaking hilarious with me. I actually had somebody in the elevator was like, "How did you make him crack open like that?" During my interview with him, because he is just somebody that is all hockey, but then once you get him to talk, he's so funny. He didn't know who
Yeah.
Kyle Dubas was, so someone had to show him a picture. He's like, "Oh yeah, I met with that guy," and everyone just started cracking up. He's not even trying to be funny. He's just hilarious. He's been playing men in the Czech League since he was 16 years old. I think
Yeah.
this guy is more ready than we thought, and I think that he has a lot more upside than he showed offensively. I think defensively he's already a monster, and I think that he can actually get better too. He needs to improve on his skating, but his comp is Moritz Seider, and I just feel like that's a fantastic comp for somebody that people did not see the star potential in him, and then once he got the coaching, once he became the star of the prospect pool, they gave him a lot more ability to increase his game, especially with NHL coaching. And I think this guy's going to do the exact same thing. I do think that he's going to be a top four producer on your team, like immediately. I think that that's his floor, and I also think he could be a top line player for the Sabres. They obviously have a lot of draft capital with Owen Power and Darlene, and I mean even Bowen Byram is over there too. So I think Bowen Byram's going to be on the move. I think Merca is going to probably be the top pair guy in a couple years with
Mm.
a player like
Darling.
Darlene, and if not, he's going to be with Power, and I think that's just going to be fantastic. So I think there's nothing really more to say here. Sabres are probably going to take a defenseman, and they need a right-handed one, so
Yeah.
it just kind of falls in their lap. And then Anaheim at 10 to close out the top 10 because, Anaheim kind of lucks out here because Pat Verbeek is just a wild man, and he could really do whatever he wants. There's multiple players that they can take, but I don't really want to say them so that I can get some of these guys for Pittsburgh here. But I think that a player that we haven't taken yet that's just kind of continued to fall is
Mm.
a Victor Eklund, and I really do like Victor Eklund. Even like, can you just imagine what Victor Eklund was doing with Anton Frandel? He was driving play. Can you imagine what he's doing with Leo Carlsson? I just feel like
Yeah.
that would be a fantastic fit there. He's my seventh-ranked player on my board. I think that this is just a value pick for me. Victor Eklund was the star of the combine, in my opinion, with his personality. William Eklund's obviously his brother, and he's a star in the league, and I think he's only going to get better. I think Victor might actually be just that guy as well. I think he's going to be
Yeah.
similar to a star, maybe not a star, but a very big contributor on a
He can.
line
He
with
can
Leo
get there.
Carlsson. I think he can too. He plays a
Yeah.
lot bigger than 170 pounds. He was 161 and then he weighed 170, so he gained 9 pounds of actual muscle, and you can see it on his body. I think that he's only going to continue to do so, and this guy is not afraid to go to the center of the ice. He's not afraid to get hit to make a play. He's not afraid to get in front of that net. He's not afraid to obviously play drive, like we've continued to say. He got as many reps as anybody did in that second tier of Swedish league. I mean, and even when he came up, the playoffs was awful. Like, it's so weird watching the top prospects in the SHL play in the playoffs because they're getting like 3 minutes a night sometimes
Yeah.
or one shift. Like there was a
Yeah.
there was a game Anton Frandel played 30 seconds and scored a goal. Like it was funny. Like I was just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So obviously, please don't look at the playoff stats because they're just not accurate in my opinion in the SHL. So if you're stat watching, Eklund's game's not going to look as good in my opinion, but he's just a really good player, and I'm so glad I had Instat because I got to watch more Swedish hockey than I've ever had in any year, and I was just dumbfounded every single time. My jaw would drop watching this guy play. He was more impressive to me than Anton Frandel. I might like the style he plays more, but obviously Anton Frandel is probably the better prospect in a lot of eyes. But this guy is somebody that just made me get chills multiple times when I watched him.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's a good fit for Anaheim too, because they already have players with size like Carson, McTavish, and Gauthier in the top six. They already have some size in there, and they love aggressive player. Like they took McTavish third overall, second overall. I don't remember exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, so like they love those players that have like that certain aggressiveness in the way that they play, and Eklund has that all day. Like yes, he's 5'11", and yes, he's 170. But he's gonna go to the gym. He's gonna eat his protein. He's gonna get bigger. Is he gonna be a 190 player? I don't think so. Probably not. But he's probably gonna play something around 180, 185, and that's fine. Like if we look at Seth Jarvis, I don't think he's a 190 player. It's probably 180, 183, something like that. At least that's what he looks like. And I think like they have the same type of like aggressiveness in their game, the same type of intensity and like body positioning control. And so, yeah, I really like Victor Ekland. And I think for Anaheim, it's great because, like I said, they already have the size and they're adding a fast and intense player to the lineup. And great place for them to go. He's going to be battling against his brother in San Jose. So,
that was awesome. I completely agree.
So number 11, Pittsburgh. Well, we could give them McKenna right away.
Panthers, pull Panthers. Say Ovi. Panthers kept drafting McKenna or Ovi, and they were like, "Give me Ovi every round."
I have a hard time understanding what they need or what they want. Like I don't know if you have anything, but
I do have one thing.
Yeah, so go ahead.
Okay, so Kyle Dubas, obviously Sioux connection, 2013, 2014. Sioux is a player that's still on the board, and Martin, I think that if Martin was here, they would obviously take him. I think that they're also interested in trading up for him. They obviously had a great meeting, and Martin is just the kind of guy that they would kind of want.
Yeah, but he's not there.
No. Well,
so now we'll go.
He's there in this one, but
huh?
He's there in our one, but I don't think he's going to be there.
We didn't pick him yet.
No.
Oh, true. Because you talked about him at Utah. Because I already put an X beside him. All right. Well, then it's going to be Brady Martin. There you go. Oh,
there's so many M's. That's what I said. Misa, McQueen, Martone, Merca, Martin.
No, it's really because when you talked about him for Utah, I put an X beside him already. So now I was not thinking of. I think Brady Martin. That would be. I think is the right range to get him. Like top 10 is a bit rich. I can see a team like Buffalo maybe taking him. I could see a team like Boston taking him, and I think it might be a little bit high, but it's not. It's really not that bad. But Pittsburgh at number 11. It's a great fit, and it's also a great spot to take him. Like you're getting actual value. If you take Brady Martin at number 4, you're not getting value. You're getting something that you want. It's very, very different. So yeah, great pick.
I completely agree. And before we move on, because there's not a lot to say about Martin other than the things that we both pointed out, would you have taken Martin or McQueen at 7, knowing Martin was on the board?
Oh, McQueen.
Okay, yeah, I would too.
Yeah,
I would too.
Yeah.
I just wanted your opinion.
Yeah. No. For me, there's no comparison. Like,
yeah,
I think McQueen is a much superior player as opposed to Brady Martin. And I like Martin. It just doesn't have the same level of skill, same level of vision, and to create offense at the NHL level. Yeah. It's not the same.
So if the Rangers keep their pick, which obviously I have no idea what they're going to do here, because obviously they just traded Chris Kreider to Anaheim, and they could be selling off more pieces as well. So are they trying to go get McKenna? So if
they're not going to give next year's pick, that's for sure.
Yeah, so this probably is Pittsburgh, which is
Yeah,
interesting, but we'll go because last time at 12 we were just like this is the Martin pick, and then obviously he jumped up one spot. But
yeah,
if the Rangers are picking here, I think that they're going to go Kayshawn Aitchison, and if the Pittsburgh Penguins are picking here, I also think they're going to go Kayshawn Aitchison. So it's a
yeah.
2-for-1. I'm going to say Kayshawn Aitchison for this pick because I Aitchison is going to go a lot higher than a lot of people think. I think that they like his player profile, and also, I mean, he had a very productive season in the OHL. I think that, like we had talked about when we talk about Kayshawn Aitchison, the 26 goals in the
Yeah,
OHL is just absolutely a monster.
yeah.
But a lot of those, are they translatable? I don't know, but he scored 26, so it doesn't really matter. And his
If
defense
it's
is
terrible or
really
not,
great.
he has a great shot.
Yeah,
So I mean, maybe he's gonna learn to take his spot a little bit more, or I don't know, take the space available, take his shot. Like he does it already in the OHL, so he should do it in the NHL. But if people think it's not translatable, his goal scoring, like he still has the shot to lean on. So it's just about teaching where to take them and how to take them. That's gonna be the big difference.
yeah, yeah. I think that's really well said. Obviously, like Bluechip Prospect said, incredible shot. I mean, you can watch his highlights over and over and over. When you score 26 goals in the O, that's pretty good
Yeah, and that's
for a
just one
defenseman.
part of his game too. He has like
Yeah, really good defense too.
the best physicality of basically maybe any defenseman outside of Bedkowski. I would say probably like something around that. Like I think he's a much better player than Bedkowski. It's not the same tier at all. But I'm saying in terms of physicality, yes, he will hit and get himself out of the play a little bit sometimes. That's all teachable stuff, and sometimes you want to send a message anywhere, so it's okay. He also fights. He does so many things on the ice. This is an NHL defenseman, and that's an NHL type defenseman. It's not that guy is not going 20. Like he's too good. He has size, he has skating, he has defense. He put numbers. Yes, he's old in the draft, but he put a lot of numbers. 26 goals, physicality. Like man, there's
Yeah,
no way he's gonna fall. So and,
like I
and
said,
the pick you want to put it
go ahead.
down as New York or Pittsburgh. Like, do you think like if by what New York is doing right now, I cannot see a world where they're uh gonna give next year's pick.
No,
So
no. But that's
yeah,
why I wanted to take a player that I think both could take.
yeah,
Obviously, this also could be Jackson Smith, but the thing with Kayshawn Aitchison is he kind of plays more of a Rangers game, and he also plays kind of how the Pittsburgh Penguins want to play it in the playoffs. So if Pittsburgh was picking here and it was solidified, it would have been a little bit of is it going to be Aitchison or Jackson Smith? But I still do think it's going to be one forward and one defenseman for Pittsburgh in those two picks. So that's
yeah,
why I leaned Aitchison. Because in my opinion, I have Jackson Smith higher than Aitchison. But watching the playoffs, I mean, I really do think Aitchison might go a lot higher than consensus
yeah,
based on everything I heard, and he was great in the interviews. He spent a lot of time with me after too, and just like he knows hockey. He's very intelligent, and his hockey IQ is awesome. It's. I would say that this guy's kind of like an owl. There's two players that I've said that they're like an owl. If for the Montreal Habs question, which that was the talk of the town for your team, every kid said that was the weirdest question they were asked. What animal you would be? Bill Zonin and Kayshawn Aitchison are both owls, in my opinion. They
yeah,
just understand it's the movement. It's if they're going to make a move, it's going to be strategic. It's very chess-like. I think Aitchison plays chess on. I mean, obviously he was older, like you had said, but I think he plays chess on the
yeah,
on ice. So, will he go higher? Than Jackson Smith. I think it's kind of like same tier esque player, but with the
mhm,
physicality that you had mentioned, as well as he's not that small. He's like 161, 200 pounds. I think it's going to be Aitchison here at 12 for no matter what
yeah.
team.
And I think he's a more attractive type of player for NHL GMs. Like you can say Jackson Smith is a Sam Dickinson type of defenseman. You could say like last year there was question about Sam Dickinson's IQ, but he had the
Decision making.
skating,
Yeah.
he had the skills, he had a lot of stuff going for him, but like decision making was a little bit like reckless. Sometimes we could say a little bit too confident with the puck. Well, it's basically the same thing with Jackson Smith. But is Jackson Smith going to be Dickinson next year? That we don't know. So like, and Dickinson was taken 11th. Is that it?
Yeah, 11.
Yeah.
San Jose
So
traded from 14 to 11, and then they lucked out with him.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think Cation Hutchinson is more an NHL type of defenseman, at least the type that GM like, and that would be great for Pittsburgh. And when you look at it, Brady Martin at 11 and Cation Hutchinson at number 12, that's like it's pretty
Those are
good.
bruisers.
Yeah, well, you're building an identity. So all right. So number 13 is who? It's Detroit. Um, Let me go see what we have available. I don't think they need help on defense. I think they're pretty good there. I don't think they need a more big bruiser type of player, or not just big bruiser, but they already have like those two-way guy that are big. Like I wouldn't give them a Malcolm Spence, even though it fits like the mentality that they have. I think like they already have those players. Um, yeah, it's for me. It's either Carter Bear or Calbano. I don't know if you talk to anybody or something like that, but I think I'll give them a Carter Bear. Carter Bear for Detroit. Yeah,
Well, I talked to Carter Bear. He said that he is already skating. Obviously, when I interviewed him the first time,
yeah,
I was lucky enough to be the first media personnel to like talk to him after the lacerated Achilles injury, and he actually said he was already skating after that, and that
yeah,
was about like 6 weeks after the injury. So he
yeah,
dodged a bullet. Definitely, it was not. I mean, if you fully tear or lacerate your Achilles and it's just like really bad, you're not skating for 8+ months.
yeah.
I mean, and he said he's also going to be doing some off-season workouts, and he's going to do some like off-season on-ice training as well. So he dodged a bullet. I think that obviously he was disappointed a lot that he couldn't help his team in the playoffs, but I think
Mm,
that he has to be very excited based on what had happened with
yeah,
the first and second opinions on the injury, and I like he is a very humble kid, very hard school driven, tenacious kind of player. Is always trying to get into the front of the net, and he's always a great pack checker. I think that this guy is just going to excel in the playoffs. Very Detroit Stevie Y pick. I think that they luck out by him going here. I think he would actually be in the
yeah,
similar range even with the injury too, maybe from 8 to 12. But as we've seen all these guys, I mean, he's not going over Martone in my opinion, and Merca and Eklund and all these guys. So
yeah.
I think that this is kind of the best case scenario range for him too.
I would really really love if he fell to the Habs. Like
Yeah.
he's the player that I want. Um, like there's a possibility. I don't know how high that possibility is, but like last year, I didn't think Demidov was gonna fall to number 5, and he did. So I mean, why not?
He actually he watched Gallagher a lot. So he's been
Yeah,
watching the Habs a lot. Just because like he thinks that that's also like a player that he likes to take from the game. His player comparison for himself was Brandon Hagel, but he did watch
yeah.
Gallagher a lot growing up.
And if you look at the goal chart on Instat or the shot chart, you can see that he's very very Gallagher. Like it's all concentrated within like 2 feet of the net. It's like all his goals like a big of like 30 goals all around the net. So, but it's not just that. Like scoring goals around the net in the OHL, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's something that can be done if you have some talent. But Carter Bear is not just that. Carter Bear like is his game is not built on skating, but he has decent skating. Though the posture is a little bit questionable sometimes, but he has hands, he has a shot, he has playmaking, like he has good vision. He's not necessarily known for his vision. He's known for his intensity and his competitiveness and his aggressiveness. But he's a good playmaker. He's a good passer. He's not Berkeley Catton good. Like that's a different level, but he's good. And yeah, like I said, I would love him to fall to the Avs, but I think at some point Detroit might go with him. Yeah, so I have no choice.
And then Columbus at 14 is actually really interesting. You know, this would have been a very different pick for me, but after the combine, it kind of seems like they like Lyndon Lakovich, and I think that that would be just kind of the pick that they want. Somebody with high upside. It took him a little while to understand the WHL, like I had previously
Yeah,
said. When he first joined the Dub, he was just trying to dangle through three defenders. He didn't really understand how to play a two-way game. He grew a lot more, and he was trying to figure out his body. I compare him to a 5'11" winger or forward. that just happens to be 6'4". I think that as soon as he learns how to use his body, you're going to get a different Lyndon Lakovic. I think that you're just getting a player with a lot of upside. He was incredibly productive this year in the Dub, even though he missed some time. He was a very big leader for them. And also the last year for Moose Jaw, they won the championship. So obviously he's had both winning and the obstacle of losing and having a really tough season this year.
Yeah.
So I think Lyndon Lakovic is just kind of somebody that would fall to Columbus. I would like it if he went to Montreal too, because I got a lot of Montreal people that I talk to all the time, so I'm actually rooting for them too. And if anything, they've become my second favorite team just to root for, because you guys got Demidov, you got Hudson, you got a lot of my players that I really, really liked. So I think that it would be cool to see Lyndon go to Montreal, but I'm going to give him to Columbus here.
And I know they're very interested too. They saw him a lot during the season, and like a lot of people say, you don't go to Moose Jaw because you want to have a vacation. It's not an easy place to get to. So, and the Habs went a lot of time. They talked to him a lot of time. I know he had a tough interview with them at the combine. Like he said, they were rough. They were challenging him on his not the fact that he's not physical and not using his body, because he's been progressing that way the whole season, but just challenging his defensive involvement and stuff like that. And I think that's okay. You want to see our player react when he's being challenged on his play, and that's perfectly fine. But I know that they like him, so I would have liked, personally, if we can get Carter Bear and Lakovic, I'd be very happy.
That would be the dream scenario.
Yeah, this or Calbano or something like that. Like two forwards like that, be very happy. But every single mock draft that I look at, if there's not let's say a Cameron Reed that jumps in front or a player like that, like most of the time we end up with like Braden Coots, which is fine, but like Braden Coots and Logan Hansler, and it's not the same level of hype, even though like there's defensemen like Cameron Reed who's super, super good, but I wouldn't just be as excited. But yeah, so Lyndon Lakovic to Columbus instead of Montreal. I'll accept it. Number 15 is Vancouver. And who do we have left? Vancouver. Like, who they took last year? Was their pick? Do you remember?
Vancouver took. Well, the year before was Willander.
Yeah.
And they took 24.
Good question, huh?
I'm totally blanking.
I'll go in the draft center and just look. That sometimes I can't remember every prospect from every team. So
well, now I really wanna.
I'll tell you that. A second. I'll do all teams. Vancouver. Like this. They took. Oh, they didn't have a pick in. No, didn't have a first or a second. Their first pick is Melvin Fernstrom in the third round. Okay. And the year before that was Villander. And they need skills, right? Basically. I think I have no choice but to do like every other mock draft and just give them the last big skilled player that can do a little bit of everything, and that's going to be Justin Calbano at Vancouver. At Vancouver. I say it in French. At Vancouver.
I was going to put him for 16 at Montreal, so you're a disappointed Habs fan right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, they don't have much. Like, even in the pipeline, they have Lecker Mackey, who's an offensive player, but he's not a big player. He's a small player. He's not very good physically, and that's one of the main knock against him. And that is not a knock against Justin Calbano. He has no issue playing through contact. He has no issue hitting people either. So, and he has a lot of skills, a lot of skating, big shot, good playmaking. So he has so much going for him that there's a lot to work with. And I think at some point, if you're a team that need a little bit of size, a little bit of offense, and you want to take a swing on a guy that might play in your top six, it's going to be Justin Calbano at that point. So, yeah.
And for Montreal, for their first pick here at 16, I'm going to go with a player that's fallen, and I actually have not marked him here once, and that's Jackson Smith. I got to talk to him, and you know he hasn't committed yet to Penn State, but I think it would be a phenomenal phenomenal spot to go to. Jackson Smith is obviously 6'3". He's got a lot of offensive upside. He was one of the best players in the Dub this year, but he wasn't as productive as kind of you want an offensively skilled defenseman. I think it's going to come. If he goes to the NCAA, I think that the practice is going to absolutely help him. He grew up a swimmer too, so I feel like that always helps with the stamina as well as the VO2 bike. He performed especially well. He was really good in the interviews too. I just think that Jackson Smith shouldn't be falling this far. It's just obviously I could see him going 12. I could see him going 8 to Seattle. I don't want anyone to think like I'm knocking Jackson Smith because I love this kid. I think that he's going to be an absolute stud in the league, and I think that he's definitely top 4 with that quarterback a power play, in my opinion, and I think he will do that at the next level. I've been saying this for like 3 months, and I've been getting into some fights with some people on X. Everybody kept saying that this draft was weak. I always thought the opposite. I thought that this was a very deep draft. The fact that you could get a player like Jackson Smith at 16 and there's a possibility is just absolutely incredible. There are many players on my list. I don't see the drop-off. There's just so many great players. So I think that this is a really good spot.
I agree with what you're saying in the way that there is depth. It's just at the same level. I don't think you're getting the same level of player. Like, if you put Jackson Smith and you rank him with the defenseman of last year, he's not before William. He's not before Dickinson. He's not before Levshunov. Is he before Silayev? Maybe not. Like, Silayev is extremely mobile, 6'7" player. They're like very unique. So like, yes, he is good. He is good for this year. Is he good for every other year before? That's more where I see like the weakness of the draft. I don't think it's a weak draft per se. I think it's more like on the average side. But even though there's depth, because there's players I like up to like number 50 in the draft there, and players that I like a lot at like number 47 or whatever. But like Jackson Smith, even though like right here he's falling to number 16. Is that going to happen? We don't know, but I'm just not sure if it's like the same type of, let's say, player like we had last year. That's my question.
Well, in 2022, Kevin Korchinski went 7. Are you higher on Kevin Korchinski or Jackson Smith?
Oh yeah, well, Jackson Smith for sure.
Yeah.
But Korchinski, I mean, I think they reached for them. I think that's the consensus.
He did, He was probably 13.
Yeah. So, all right, cool. So I would be happy with that. Jackson Smith at number 6. I'd be very happy with that pick. And that's one of the things that makes me happy is that if like Cation Hitchison is taken in the first half of the draft, and then you add a player like Jackson Smith, who's most likely going to be taken in the first half of the draft, then that means that one of the very good winger is going to fall, whether it's Lakovic, Carbonneau, or Bear. One of them is going to fall to the Habs, so we could end up with one of the very good winger and one defenseman. So that would be the ideal scenario. We'll see how it happens in a couple, like in a week and a half, 2 weeks, something like that. So next, number 17, there's really like a couple ways I could go about it. I could go with just locking down the defense for years to come and go with Logan Hensler. Or I could go with a center like Brandon Coots. You said he compared himself to Brandon Point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Another Braden.
Another Braden? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, because it could be Cole Reshney, but Cole Reshney, even though he's very, very good, does he have the feet for the NHL? This is a hard one. It could be Malcolm Spence, but I don't want Malcolm Spence. My God, this is hard. So what I'm going to do is we're going to lock down the defense for years to come, and I'm going to go with Logan Hensler. Yeah.
I'm seeing that more and more.
Huh?
I'm seeing that more and more as we do mock drafts.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be actually a similar spot. I really like Logan Hensler. He was one of the first players I talked to this whole class. Very good kid. And he was one of the youngest players on this team. Or the youngest.
Yeah, like, it's just I have no clue what they would do in that case. Like, if they had Jackson Smith at 16, would they go for another defenseman at number 17, or would they try to like diversify a little bit and take a center or another winger? I don't know. I really, really don't know. So I'm gonna give them Logan Hensler because we have like a little bit of a need on the right side, not that much of a need, but at least it gives you a player that you know can get into the lineup in a couple of years from now that has size, wheels, can move the puck, has a good first pass, can defend. So yeah, Logan Hensler. Your turn.
And then Calgary here, I think this is an interesting spot, but I think Calgary kind of will take Braden Coots. I really do like Braden Coots. I think that Braden Coots is a 200-foot forward that can, bring a lot of intensity and tenacity. I asked why he was named like the best player to play against or hardest player in the dub from multiple prospects like Cam Schmidt, and it's just because he's like a mosquito. He will not let up. I think I really like that. Like the tenacity he plays with, like the 200-foot game, like he wants to destroy you. And he's also Captain Coots. He was a big part of Team Canada for their championship or their gold medal run. I think that he just played absolutely incredible. I mean, that was an Avengers team that they had to go against versus Sweden, and they beat them 7-1 or something like that. I just feel like Coots is a player that, as I've continued to say, like he's consistent. He is the best player that Merck has ever played against or played with, and he was playing against men in Czech. I think that Coots just brings a game that is playoff ready for Calgary, and they are a playoff team. Maybe they aren't going to stay that way, but in 2 to 3 years, they probably will be another playoff team again. I think that Coots is just a perfect middle six center or forward for your team.
Yeah, it's the other player I was hesitating with for Montreal because obviously he's a center. He does everything pretty well. A little bit of question about his upside, but I mean, it's not impossible that he's a second line center. It's just maybe not likely. It's more middle six than like pure second line center. But he's so competitive and doesn't have good hands. He has like great hands. He has really, really good stick handling and puck skills. So I think it's very good for Calgary. And I wouldn't be mad if he was in Montreal either. So at number 19, it's who? It's St. Louis. St. Louis. I have no clue what they would take. Like last year, they took a right shot defenseman. This really could go with a puck moving left shot defenseman. I'm gonna give them Cameron Reed because at some point Cameron Reed's got to go off the board. Yes, he's 5'11", 6 foot, something like that, but he's a very, very good player. Like very good player. So, number 19, Cameron Reed for St. Louis.
I like that. I'm going to be talking to him soon, so I'm just going to try to get into both of the Luca Romano and him too. I got to talk to Pridham beforehand, but yeah, Kitchener is very good with that. So I'm going to probably talk to him way before the draft, but hopefully sooner rather than later. And I just think that this is a guy that's like higher up on a lot like boards for a reason. I've been kind of sleeping on him for most of the year, but there's just so many good players that, he's creeping into my top 20, but he's not there yet. So there's a lot of great players in this class. It's nothing against him. I really like his game. Obviously, he was productive in the OHL. I think that it was between like him and Kayshawn Aitchison for a little bit of the year, and then Kayshawn kind of jumped him for sure, basically showing the production, the goals, and the physicality. But I think Reed is also a really great player.
He's a hard player to put in your top 20. Yeah. But he deserves to be there. It's just hard because he doesn't have the size part. Like he has the compete, he has the intelligence on ice, he has the skating, obviously. But like it's just hard because it's another productive but not that productive player at 5'11". How dynamic is he? It's a question mark. So he deserves to be top 20, but it's hard to put him there.
I completely agree. It's definitely tough.
Yeah.
Especially in this class. But for 20 overall, speaking of 20, it's Columbus's second pick. And I think that a lot of players that I really did want here kind of went off the board. But obviously, they could go in a multitude of directions. I think that they're going to go with Malcolm Spence here. I really do just like Malcolm Spence's game. He compared
Mhm.
himself to Carter Verhaeghe. He's a really good playoff player. I asked him like what makes him elevate his game in the playoffs, and it's his intensity, his tenacity. A lot of players said tenacity, but
Mhm.
it's just the way he kind of plays. He elevated his performance, and him and Martin Misiak, Blackhawks prospect shout out, were just really great without Matthew Schaefer. And obviously they had a rough playoff, but I don't think that they were expecting to win in that first round, and they did, and they came out on
Yeah.
top. I think Malcolm Spence is just one of those guys that allowed that to happen. Very clutch. I could see him being very projectable as a middle six player, and I think he does have a higher floor than most people. Going to Michigan, it's going to really help a lot of his I just like that program. It helped Michael Hage, and they're really good
Yeah.
friends too. I know they skated together in the off season for a long time. When Frank Ivankovich, Jack's father, runs
Mhm.
this ice out there with players like Michael Misa, you have Matthew Schaefer. Jack obviously is going to be there getting shot on, and Quentin Musty. You got a lot of good players that have come out and skate there, and Malcolm Spence just knows a lot of those guys and practices with them. I think it's only a good thing.
Yeah. That's a lot of size up front. That's for sure. Like Columbus is already a big team, and they're gonna be even bigger when they have what's his name from last year? Kaden
Lakovic.
Lindstrom
Oh,
coming in. Now
yeah.
we gave them Lyndon Lakovic and Malcolm Spence. That's a lot of big bodies in the top six, or I mean, the entire top nine is going to be big bodies with skills. So
Yep.
that's pretty good. Next for Ottawa. Um, Ottawa's a little bit hard to figure because it just changed like their GM. Like we knew with the ex GM that he was gonna go with a player that has physicality. Like basically, that was always the pick. Now they changed, so it's a little bit hard to know. I think they need talent up front, and I think like it could. Honestly, I'm gonna go between Colin Potter, Benjamin Kindle, or Cole Brezhny. Um, and I'm gonna go with in between. I'm gonna go with Ben Kindle because Ben Kindle has more speed than Cole Rejny, but he's probably not as good a playmaker, but he has a better shot. So this is it's like in between Colin Potter and Cole Rejny. So I'm gonna go with Kindle at Ottawa at number 21. And it's pretty rare that
And
you get
then
a player that has 99 points in the WHL in the 20s. So go ahead.
I think that well, there was just like breaking news. It says can confirm Mitch Marner will not be returning to Toronto. He will be playing for a new team 5 minutes ago
Yeah.
from Andy Strickland. So I think that's kind of interesting.
Oh yeah,
But
he confirmed it. Like,
yeah,
but his words or Marner's words.
it just says can confirm. I think since
Okay.
I haven't
Yeah.
been on X, maybe he was like Marner had said something, and this was just a confirmation towards that. But it does seem like Marner is going to be leaving, and yeah,
It
a
was
lot
very
of news.
likely anyway.
Marner, yeah, yeah,
It was
and I
very
guess it
likely.
just
It's
came
just
out. Go
you
ahead.
know what? Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, you go.
What were
You
you?
go.
All right. Well, like I was saying, I think it was very likely to begin with. I think he's done with Toronto basically, even though he's a guy from there and he loves the city and all this stuff. I think the fan base has been really, really tough on him, and he's like their best player. Maybe Matthew is a better player, but it's debatable. I think Marner is like so good defensively. Even though he's a winger, he's also like he's put 100 points this season, 99 points like a couple seasons ago. He's just so good. But in the playoff, it's been hard, and I guess he's gonna try his luck somewhere else. I don't know where. I don't know where, but
It says the Canes are trying to sign him to
yeah,
14 mil for 7 years as
I
soon
think
as
he
free
fits
agency
there.
opens.
They tried
So
to get him right with
yeah,
when they had Rantanen, they tried to get
Rantanen, yeah,
Marner, but he refused to go. So
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he refused to go like 2 months ago. So, so I don't know. Maybe it works. I think it would be a great fit for. They need like that star power player in my opinion to like to take that next step. They always like go to like second round or third round, but they never like make it past that. But they're competitive every single year. I think if you add a player of Marner's level into that team, it's a very different ball game. They have the defense down. They have a very like physical and intense type of uh, like way of playing. So they have everything to succeed in the NHL. They just need that little extra push, and that Marner can really give it to you. So I think it would be a good fit. Just I don't want him in the East. Go in the West.
I want him on the Blackhawks, but also a lot of people say that that's not the right fit. But I mean, we have nobody, so what are we to choose? But
Yeah,
with
sure.
with that news breaking, I'm going to go to 22 Philly because I think that this is a really interesting spot just for a guy like I want to say Cam Schmidt, but I don't think that they're going to take him. It's just way too early. I'm going to say a player like Jack Murtagh. I really like Jack Murtagh's game. I think that he's going to go a lot higher than most people think. He
Oh
obviously
yeah.
played. He's going to play at BU next year, and I think that that's a really good fit for him. He was very productive in the NTDP, almost a point per game player. He really, really excelled in all of the interviews. He talked to me for a very long time, and I just got the sense that this guy's a really down-to-earth kid that just kind of understands hockey. He is one of every teammate's favorite player to play with. So I just feel like Jack Murtagh is going to be picked a lot higher, and he's one of those versatile center wing players that I think that just kind of fit. They already took Jake O'Brien in this, and they have Mitchkov, and I feel like Jet Luchenko, is he a number 3 center? Is he somebody that is a number 2? In my scenario, he's a middle 6, but way better third line center, and I don't think that's a knock on Jet Luchenko. I just think that that's like, if you're a championship team, I would rather
Yeah.
have Jet Luchenko on my third line than my second as a center. And I think Jack Murtagh would be a perfect fit with Jet Luchenko on that third line. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's tough to take third line players, and I don't think Jack Murtagh is a second liner, but I just think that he is an NHL player and a body, and that's when you're picking 3 times in the first round, I think that you're just trying to get as many hits as possible.
Yeah, and I think you're right in the fact when you say that Jack Murtagh is going to play in the NHL. I think he has the NHL body, he has NHL skills. Like the skating and the shot alone is already very good. So I think he's gonna make the NHL to that. I don't think he has upside for a second line. I think it's also the fact that you don't always know which Jack Murtagh you will get on the ice. Like from a game to the other, it's not always the same intensity that he plays with. So that could be something hard to fix. But I mean, like you said, if you draft a lot of time in the first round, but at some point you need some bodies, and Jack Murtagh is probably a good body to have.
Yeah, I
So
completely
next,
agree.
so at 23, Nashville. Um, with Nashville, I'm gonna go. Who did we give? We gave them James Higgins, right? Like everybody else. Yeah.
Yes,
So, and when's the next pick for Nashville? Is it a
26.
Sarah?
So
26?
23 and
So,
26, so 3 picks.
all right. So I won't take the goalie. I'll let you do that. And I'm gonna go with Jack Nesbitt. Give them another center. Oh no, get that. Not Jack Nesbitt. I'm gonna go with Blake Fiddler.
Blake
Yeah,
Fiddler, okay.
yeah. First, because well, Nashville boy, and and not just that. I mean, that's the range in which he fits. I think he has some upside. I think he like what we're seeing right now is not the complete development. I think there's still some room to grow, not to grow physically, but for his game to grow. And he's from there. He's a right shot defenseman with size, can move quite well enough. Uh, yeah, and I mean they already have a center at number 5, now a right shot defenseman at number 23, and then a goalie at number 26.
I'm going to spoiler take a goalie there, so
We didn't know.
I yeah, they've come out and said that they wanted to do that. Blake
Yeah.
Fiddler's awesome. I think that he's going to be a NHL defenseman too. A lot of these players, it's kind of weird. It's like if you looked back at the NHL or the NFL draft a couple years back, it was a draft where it was all starters. Like you were definitely going to get starters, but there was kind of a little bit of the star power was up front, and I feel like that's exactly this. You're getting NHL players, and in an
Yeah.
NHL draft where you're drafting 17, 18-year-olds, it's really interesting. So my kind of thoughts on this class is we're going to see a lot of players just kind of like get a lot of or become stars from lower positions just because they are all
Mm,
going to play, and you never know how a player is going to translate to the NHL once they're
yeah.
there. So I think a lot of them are going to get in the NHL, and then it's just going to be really interesting to see who performs well. That's like Colin Potter to me, or Kindle, or Cam Schmidt. If they hit in the NHL, they're going to be really good players. Blake Fiddler's the same way. I can see him as definitely a top four defenseman for a
Yeah.
team, especially for Nashville. And like with the size, with the skill he has, with the defense, like I actually feel like he could be a very good player in the NHL because he's going to make it, in my opinion. Like worst case, he's fifth or sixth defenseman on your team, but I
Yeah.
actually don't. I see a lot more upside than that too. And getting him at 23 is just a fantastic pick. So I
I
love
think
that pick.
I think he's a little bit underrated.
Yeah,
Like
I do too.
I don't know what a consensus is about him, like where the ranking is. But me personally, I have a 21, and like I feel like I'm not sure if I would take him in the top 20 because I'm not sure about the projection. I know he's going to play. I think he has top four potential, top four upside. I'm just I'm still debating in my head if he can actually reach that. If he has like that little extra push on his skills and his vision to actually make it happen.
Hmm.
I think defensively it's no issue. I think the feet are gonna get a little bit better. Like he's good enough for his size, but it could take like a little notch above that to be a very effective defenseman at the NHL level and just close your gaps quickly with like strength and power. So I think he can do all of that. But if he can add a little touch offensively, which I think he can be a very, very good top four player in the NHL. So at 23 would be great. And I think he can be taken before that.
I completely agree with you. And for the Kings here, because the Kings are an interesting spot for me, I actually want to take somebody that hasn't really been often booked here, and that's Milton Gastrin. I really like Milton
Okay.
Gastrin a lot, and I think I'm a lot higher than him than probably consensus is. It's just one of those things where kind of Gastrin is a guy that I just see being a very big leader once he's in an NHL locker room. He was a leader
Mm.
for Sweden for all those years. Everybody loves this guy. He's very down to earth. He talked to me about the NHL draft process and was very open. And a lot of the stuff he was talking about was like we're tired. We have to perform on the ice. We have to perform in the interviews as well as all of these things for teams that they're doing. Like you have to be on your best every single second during the
Yeah.
NHL draft process, and you also have to perform on the ice just to your best of ability. It gets hard, and I think that he's done that incredibly well. I think that every player in this class has had to deal with that, and all classes beforehand, but I don't think that I've heard anybody be as candid about this process as him. I think that he's going to be very great in the interviews, and he's just somebody that's not afraid to get into the center of the ice. He's not afraid to
Yeah.
get hit. He will be in the middle, or he will be near the goalie. I think that he's going to be like a Carter Brask player or Gallagher, where a lot of his goals come from 2 feet in front of the net. I think that he's
Yeah.
going to be great to screen a goalie, especially on a power play, maybe a power play too. But I can see upside here. Obviously, middle six is the name of the game for a lot of these prospects in this area, but I could totally see a scenario where he's a really good second line player that just is a very complimentary piece to two other stars, and then he just puts up a ton of points because of how smart he is and how he plays. And also, he's good at defense too, and he's just never going to stop. Again, the mosquito thing, I think he's also a mosquito, and I think playing the mosquito role in the SHL or in Sweden where you're playing in the larger ice, I think that his game's actually going to translate better than any other Swedish player because of how much intensity he flies down, especially on the
Hmm.
larger ice rinks. This man is like tailing you for a very long time. Like when he goes to the NHL, he's gonna be like, oh, this is easy. Like the pace is obviously gonna be a little trouble for him, but it's gonna be easy for him. He's gonna be able to
Less
backcheck
ice to
anybody.
cover.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a like I have issues with man Milton Gatchin. Like I started the season very high on him. I had him in my top 16 like preliminary, and like he kept falling down. Like you said, I like the way you said it. The fact that he could be a player that plays in the middle six as a complementary player. Like you know what he's going to give you on the intensity side. You know what he's going to give you defensively. He's never gonna hurt your team. Like a bit like Jack Mertag, he's a player that's going to play in the NHL. Like he has the NHL body, the NHL speed, the NHL like understanding of hockey and intensity. It's just how high in a lineup he can get. Like as a driver, not high. Complimentary, possible that he can get a little bit higher. For that reason, I don't even have him in my first round right now. He's in my like I don't necessarily have that group still of number 33 where there's like 20 players in there, but like he's in that group of player who could be first round player. So I think for LA it's a good pick. They will need players to come into the team at some point, and Milton Gastrin they know is going to play a certain style, a certain way for them, and that's good. Yeah. So number 25, that's Chicago. Ooh. All right. So who's the smaller player? Cameron Schmidt.
Adam Banach.
All right. So I know you really like Vaclav Nestrazel. I don't know. Is he going to be picked in the first round at the
I
NHL
think so.
draft?
I think so.
Yeah, you think so? I think he could be a Hawks pick. Um, oh, what about Colin Potter? No? How about Kerman Limitov? Good skater. No? Okay.
What about Boumediene, who I keep hearing at 25 is an option?
Oh yeah?
I don't know why. Yeah. It doesn't really make
But
sense for our team construction, but yeah, I keep hearing that.
yeah, because now you have the center at number 3, at number 25. What do you want? I feel like Nestrazil's the good pick. Like I would love maybe Van Zaghi too, but I think he doesn't have the feet to be like he's gonna be late on every play in Chicago. Like you need a special type of mind to be able to follow the players that's gonna be in Chicago if you're not a guy that have feet. And I don't think Shane Van Zaghi has that type of hockey sense to be in front of every play. So I'm gonna give them back off Nestraza because I think the skating is gonna be a little bit better at the NHL level. And I know you like him, but I have no clue who they're gonna take. But I think that fits.
Talking to Václav Nestrasil's camp the other day, they said that Chicago has met with him for dinner earlier in the season, and then they met with him at the combine early, and there is serious interest there, in their opinion. Obviously,
Okay.
it could be in the first round. It could be 34. I don't know. I would love it if we take him 25. I do not care if it's a value or if there's a lower value there. But this kid is 6'6". I mean, he grew an inch as well as he was very productive in the USHL. Obviously, Muskegon Lumberjacks, the one player that I would say I was most surprised with his performance was Václav Nestrasil. I thought I was going to be more interested in watching one of my guys in the previous years, Ivan Ryabkin, who I just liked watching his highlight reels, but obviously there's some character concerns on ice, off ice, intensity, just engagement level as well. So that's not coming from me. Obviously, I don't make those decisions, but that's what's kind of out on the public, as well as I just think that Václav Nestrasil played an enormous role on a championship team in Muskegon. USHL is a very good league, and I think that going to UMass is going to really help his development. Obviously, I say this all the time, but for new viewers, he has 4 brothers. One was drafted in the 3rd round of the Red Wings. I think that he's always been born around hockey. This guy's been on skates since he was under 2 years old. I just feel like he was bred to play this game, and I think that his family really thinks of that this guy's going to be a star based on everything that I hear too. Like even his brothers, they all know that he was next up immediately. I think that the first 8 games in the USHL last season before this one, it was very hard. And then he understood how to play in that very little time. He attacked the offseason very well. He had 0 points in the first 8 games. And then he was just almost a point per game player in the USHL. So I think that this guy is going to be a star, in my opinion. I have no idea how it's going to get there, but I think at 25, it's going to be like a Sam Renzel-esque pick where obviously it's just a very high upside player that's really raw, but he's going to give you everything he's got to get better, and I think he will become a star. This guy has some of the best personality I've ever talked to. So, yeah, I love this pick. And then
I
at
think,
Nashville, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's a good thing. You were talking about Ivan Ryabkin in the same team, and personally, I didn't really like his season. Like he's been productive. Like there's nothing to say about that. Like he's more. I think he's more than a point per game, something like that. But uh, when I was looking at the elite prospect, like the thing they come out with every year, like
Mhm.
their how do you call that? Uh,
1,800 pages, their draft guide.
yeah, exactly. And one of the comp that they had for him, like they always have like the shades of this player, and it was Ridley Gregg. And I haven't thought about it, but I feel like this is good. I think he has a better shot than Ridley Gregg. I'm not sure if he has like the same intensity, but he's hard. He's borderline violent when he hits. He's I think he has the same type of frame, type of play, and if he can become that type of player, that's really good. Because I'm not sure if he's going to be taken in the first round, but he's going to be taken not too far from there. I assume, and if you can get a Ridley Gregg type of player in that range, I think it's really good. It's a player that I like. So
I was consistently putting him in my top 32, 35 for majority of the season for mock drafts. I don't know if he's going to be a top 40 pick. If there was money on it, like over under 40.5, I would probably take over now. I don't think he's going to. There are teams that just have him straight crossed off their list, which is
mm,
really disappointing because I think Ryabkin is a really talented player. He obviously plays
yeah,
hero ball a lot. He sometimes just thinks that he's better than he is, and he tries to make the best play. And obviously, it like hurt him sometimes, but he was still very productive. Going to the USHL, a completely new place, playing in America, I think obviously he should have interviewed more. The only player I couldn't interview with in Muskegon this year was him, and I think it would have been not to interview with me, but I think that it would have been better for him to interview with other media outlets because his interviews I heard were not good with teams. I think they just needed to get him comfortable, and it's
mm,
obviously not a Muskegon thing. I don't think that they did it at all. I don't even think his camp did, but I think that when you are not very good with the camera, I think the best thing you could do is just talk more before those interviews because it kind of
yeah.
gets you ready. Obviously, he went in a different area, and I really hope this guy's going to be a star because I saw the potential 2 years out. Last year was, I mean, he was putting up numbers like Demidov and Michkov. I never saw that. I never saw like that. It was way different than those guys. I mean, I saw Michkov as an offensive genius. I saw Demidov as just everything, and I thought his skating was fantastic. I know people knocked his skating, but it's just a different way. I think
Yeah.
he's 10 by 2 or what, like his skating. I really like that kind of skating based on how he could pick up speed with his edge work. I think it's fascinating, and I haven't really
Jackson
seen
Smith
players
does
do
the
that.
same as a
Yeah,
defenseman. Like he skates the same way with his
that's
10-2
it is
or
interesting to see
yeah. All right.
because
So next
you
pick
can pick up a
it's
lot more power. But Nashville, I am going to go
yeah.
goalie here, and my goalie I picked last time was Jack Ivankovic, and I think this time I'm going to go Joshua Ravensbergen based on I talked to him. He said that his
Oh yeah.
the thing is, I don't. It's a what we think will happen mock, not a what
Yeah,
I
I
would
know.
do mock.
I know.
So the thing with Joshua Ravensbergen is that I do think he's going to be a first round pick. I think he's going to be the first goalie off the board. He was the best player or best goalie in the dub. He's obviously 6'5". He's a great skater. He said that he like attributes his skating as one of his best things that he does, and I thought that
Hmm.
was really interesting. Me and Chris Peters went back and forth on this question with him during the interview because we were like, "Well, what's your biggest strength? Skating. What does skating do for a goalie in terms of take your game to the next level?" He said, "Well, it helps me retrieve pucks. It helps me feel like I'm not on edge and I can feel comfortable in my skates, even no matter what position I'm in." I thought it was brilliant. I didn't actually think about any of that stuff. Obviously, you don't really think of skating first when you're trying to evaluate a goalie, and he's a 6'5" goalie. I
Yeah.
think that this guy's actually going to be a starter. I could totally see the potential, and I could see how he could be. I don't think that he's going to be a superstar-esque player that plays 36, 40 games a year, but I think that he's definitely a 1A type of person, and I think that in this kind of modern-day generation of goalies, it's only 1A, 1Bs, and I think that he is more 1A more than a 1B or an AHL player. I think that he is more athletic, and I think he is more calm, cool, and collective than we give him credit, or I give him credit for in the previous years or previous scouting reports. And I just think that this guy is absolutely a machine in the net, and he answered all the right questions. He was awesome to talk to, and I think that what I think will happen, it's not going to be the UC Saros-esque type player that I see in Jake Ivankovic. I think it's going to be the Joshua Ravensbergen for Nashville here.
And if you were picking, would you still take Ravensbergen, or you would take Ivankovic?
I would take Ivankovic because he has more upside if he grows. His dad is 6'5", and he had a growth spurt at 20. Jack Ivankovic is 5'11", and the only knock is that he's not as tall as other previous goalies. And if he grows 2 more inches or 3 more inches, this guy could be a top 15 pick, in my opinion, in this kind of class. So you're taking the upside where he is already an NHL caliber goalie, in my opinion. The size is the issue, but we saw that with Wolf, and we saw that with UC Saros, and you can dominate the league at that size. So I would pick Ivankovic for that reason. But obviously it's like you're betting on him growing, but I'm also betting on the player as well because he's cool, calm, and collective, and he's athletic.
Yep, cool. Wrong answer. No, but I agree that, like, if you look at both players right now, I think Ivankovic looks better than Ravensbergen. It's just Ravensbergen has the athletic package that goes with it. So next it's Washington. Okay. And here Washington, last year they took, who was that guy already? I don't remember his name. From the WHL, 5'11", was not predicted to go there. Let me check. Just a second. It was Tarek Parasak.
Tarek, yeah.
So they went like with Tarek Parasak, Cole Hudson, Leo Mugley, and then Ilya Protas, Matejko. They went small to giants.
And then Cristal the year before, and Ryan Leonard the year before. So a lot of under 6 feet.
I think we're going to give them a center. And from here, I think we're going to go with big center. And we're going to go with Jack Nesbitt. It's number what this? It's number 27. Yeah, so Jack Nesbitt for Washington here. Player that has some size, that has some skills. Definitely a player that's going to play in the NHL. Has a chance to be a middle 6 player. Probably third line, but has a chance to be a second line player if everything goes well. He definitely has a skill fit. It's more about the feet more than anything else. But it's a player that I like.
He plays an old school style. Honestly, really good pick. He's going to go in this range, so not a lot to talk about with Washington there. Nesbitt's a great pick, and I think he's a first-round player. So Winnipeg at 28. Obviously, this is a really good spot where they're going to take, in my opinion, one of my favorite players, and probably not on your board that much, but Cam Schmidt. I'm just saying Cam Schmidt's going to go here. I think it's best player available. I really like his game. It was really surprising to see how tiny he was actually in person. But this guy has so much skill. If he hits, he's going to hit. Winnipeg, they're striving for that kind of player that like him. I think that a lot of if he didn't go here, I would pick him to Carolina, but obviously I don't have Carolina's pick, so I really wanted to get him in either here or Carolina because it's just a team that, they can take that upside swing, and if he hits, he's going to be a really good top 6 forward for them. Obviously, I think he could play on a first line, but it's not going to be because it's because he kind of has to. Maybe a second line. I think he could be a more of a second line player, but he was very productive in the WHL. I think that he was kind of more disappointing in the international tournaments than we would have liked to see, and that's kind of what we were hoping for as scouts to watch him destroy that comp. So I can totally see if I know you probably don't have him in your first round after last time we talked, but it does change daily. So it is interesting if Schmidt does fall out of the top, the first round, because I think San Jose or Chicago or Nashville. I know Chicago's funny because I keep putting them as smaller players, but I think one of those players with multiple picks in the first 2 rounds of the next 3 years are going to take this guy. And Winnipeg doesn't have that, but I think that they need just as much as you can get, much upside you can get.
Yeah. And like you personally, you would take Cam Schmidt before Colin Potter or Cole Resney or players like that, or
I am higher on Cam Schmidt. The thing is, it's about like where he goes, because if you give him the time, like
yeah.
obviously he could just be a boom bust, but if he booms, it's going to be incredibly big. Obviously, I like Colin Potter a lot, but it's Cam Schmidt's higher on my board.
Okay. Wrong answer.
I know
Again.
we're disagreeing this time.
All right. After Winnipeg, it's Carolina. Carolina. But I think we're gonna give them a player with speed, a player that I prefer.
Potter.
It's not, yeah, but it's not that I prefer. It's I think the package overall is more attractive because he has. You could say maybe Cameron Schmidt is a better straight line skater than Potter. It's probably very close. I think Colin Potter is maybe a little bit more like agile or more dynamic with his skating. Um, the shot, I don't think it's close, even though Colin Potter has a good shot. I think Cameron Schmidt has a much better shot. But Colin Potter is a 5'10" player. The other one is a 5'7" player, 150 something.
Yeah.
This is rough, man. Like even Cole Caulfield in his draft year, he was like 160 something or something like that, and everybody was like, "Wow, that's gonna be rough for the NHL." And turns out it worked out, but there's not a lot of them. Like there's what? There's Stankoven, DeBrincat, Caulfield are 5'7". After that, if you bring it up a little bit, you have players like uh, who else is 5'8" that plays up front? There's not many. So there's just not a lot of player of that size and that weight that actually make it no matter what the skills. There are some that can make it, but it's a tough bet to take in the first round. But I understand the upside. But I'm gonna go with Colin Potter for
Who
Carolina.
went 21 to Ottawa?
Ottawa, I gave them Ben Kindle.
Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. So, out of Ben Kindle, Potter, and Rezhny, you have Kindle being the best, even though his skating is kind of like what makes like it's a 4.5 on a lot of charts or whatever. But like out of all of those players, you would pick Kindle over them.
No, I think Rejny.
Okay.
This is not my list. It's
No, yeah.
like so. So no, I prefer Rejny. I think Rejny is the smarter player of all those players by a pretty long shot. He's not. He's probably the worst skater of those three. Like definitely, Potter is the best skater by a pretty long shot. I think the second one would be Ben Kendall, and I think Rajni is a little level under Kendall in terms of skating. But I think that the IQ and the anticipation and knowing to play with no space, like he's always in traffic, and he's a very good playmaker. I don't know. I just love Rejny. He's my favorite of the three, but I think Kendall has a chance to be taken a little bit higher because he has a little bit more skating, even though he's like the same type of frame, maybe a little lighter, but like with time he's gonna get to 180 or something like that, so that shouldn't be a problem. But yeah, that's it. So basically, Cole Rejny is the only one that's not hasn't been taken of the three smallish player.
And that fall is going to continue because at 30, I'm taking Bill Zonin.
And who's
I
that?
like Bill Zonin a
Who's
lot.
that number 30? It's San Jose.
San Jose. I think that this is just a good fit overall. I think he's going to be a player that is going to be an NHL like a player. He's very smart. Obviously, he played chess as a kid. He was a chess champion in like 6th grade or something like that, 4th or 6th. I think that this guy is just, like I said, an owl. He's very strategic in his movement. He just got traded for 3 first-round picks in the queue to try to keep Carbonneau, but Carbonneau's gone, in my opinion. He's going to the NCAA, playing that Ryan Leonard role. I just think Bill Zonin is going to be that guy for... Yeah, I think that he's just going to put up a lot of stats. I wish that, obviously, Carbonneau was there because it would have been fun to see both of them together, and I think that they probably are going to regret trading 3 first-round picks. Obviously, Zonin's a great player, but they're not gonna. They're losing Carbonneau. I think that was just it was too much to give up when you
Yeah,
don't know what you're gonna do
yeah.
this season. Because Bill Zonin is a great player. I think that he was one of the most productive players in the queue this year. You have
You
to
don't think
like,
they would go for with a defenseman? Like they already have like Misa at the top of the draft. Don't think they would go with a defenseman at some point?
well, the thing is, the next like a lot of the defensemen got taken off the board, and they also have pick 33. So I just went best player available because
Mm,
they have that
okay,
pick 33.
okay.
Because I don't think Bill Zonik could get picked up within the next couple picks. I do think that they're heavily going to target defense. I just
Yeah,
don't know if it's going to be at the next pick per se. Obviously, if somebody falls like Logan Hensler, Blake Fiddler, Reed, there's everybody just went off the board. I mean, I think they would
yeah, but
love to
there's
get.
players like Senishka who could be in that range. There are players like Kerben Limatov who could be in that range. Uh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's your choice.
No, I think
I
that
don't
they're
I don't I don't see San Jose picking a forward here. That's my opinion because I think at some point they have to get defensemen in the pipeline. And if you have a chance to grab a player like it could be even a Rumback, could be there's a lot of players that are big that can skate uh, to put in your pipeline and develop with time. I think that's what it would do.
you know
But at the same time, obviously, Bill Zonon is probably the best player out of those players. So I understand your point of view too.
Romback is actually my next ranked defenseman, and I'm just
Yeah,
really high on him.
yeah,
Obviously, going to Golden Gophers, he's going to play with Maceo Phillips, Maceo Phillips, and he's really really tall as well. Kind of similar physical profile as Rombatch. I think that they're just going to go off. I think that was Minnesota is a really great place for taller defensemen. Obviously, you saw what happened with Sam Renzel. So I am a lot higher, and I don't think that this. Obviously, I think 33 would be a lot better pick for Jacob Rombach than 30, but I could totally see it. So I liked that you said that name.
yeah. Cool. I can say all the names you want. And 31, uh, we assume that the way I'm looking at the ranking, it says Calgary 31, Philadelphia 32. Want to go that way?
Let's do it.
All right. So, Calgary at 31. What did we take at for Calgary at 18? Brain Coots. That was a good pick. We're gonna go with some size, and we're gonna go with William Horkoff. I like William Horkoff a
Nice.
lot, and yeah, I'm not gonna explain myself. I
The
just
little
like him a lot. What?
Horkoff met with 31 teams. The only team he didn't meet with was the Blackhawks because of obvious reasons that they don't. I don't know. There's no reason. He's a really good player, 6'4", has a ton of size. I think that this would be a great pick. That's my Will Horkoff breakdown.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like I think Hitchison said that he didn't meet with the Habs. I think he also said that he didn't meet with them at all in the season, or he doesn't remember meeting with them. I'm sure if Aitchison is there at number 17 or 16, I'm pretty sure he's a target for the Habs. So,
Yeah.
so sometimes I don't know. I mean, I feel like it's weird to pick a player you didn't meet in the first round, but at the same time, I don't know. Well, yeah, Will Horkoff, I think it's a great fit in Calgary. Another big player with some skills, some aggressivity. Just a good player. He was really good at the U18, one of my favorites. So,
Yeah, I
so number
completely agree.
32, that's you.
The last pick in this is going to be Jacob Ishwazniak. I really like his game. I think that he's a really good player. I think that he was very underrated this season. He played good internationally too, helped him get a silver. But I feel like this is just one of those players that's you can have a lot of them in this range, and it's just a bucket of players. Like it was between him and Shane Van Sage, and I still have no idea if I picked right. But as well as Cole Regini is still off the board, it's just for me. There's no what I think Philly would do. Just Jacob Wozniak is one of my favorite players that I thought it would be really nice to put him on here because he really is somebody that has always impressed me with his play. I think nobody has actually helped their game out more than Cole Rezny over the last 2 months, so I do think he's going to be a first-round pick. But,
It
yeah,
doesn't
Jacob
mean
Wozniak.
like I did a video about the Habs targets, and I was talking about that the fact that every single year there is players that are in the 5'10", 5'10", 5'11", 5'9" that always fall to the second round. Like very productive players like Andrew Basha last year, or
Yeah,
players like Nikita Artamonov last year, who fell like all the way to 50 something, and
50.
Basha was 31st. So every single year there are players who were very productive, very good that most public lists saw in the first round. Like it's gonna be hard to find a list that didn't have Artamonov in the first round. Most had them in the first
I
round.
had
Same
him
thing
there.
for
Yeah.
same thing with Basha, and they were both 40 in the 40s and 50s. So like it's really not impossible for Cole Rezny, especially like yes, he's very smart, very good in everything that he has, and he was productive, but he's still not an NHL caliber skater, and he's 5'10". So it's going to be an issue, no matter how good he was. Like
Hmm.
you need skating in the NHL, and you need separation speed. If you're 5'10" in the NHL, it's gonna get very, very hard along the board. If you want to, you need to be able to explode out with the puck. So I don't know. I can really, really see it going into the second round. Like all those players, like all the Benak, the Schmidt, the Potter, Kendall, Rezny, they're all players that I can see falling in the second round. And they were actually targets in my video where I was thinking that if they are available and you didn't take a small player in the first round, then you can take one there. And, so yeah, and I like Jacob Wozniak at 32nd. I think he has upside. He's one of the players that has the most upside that's left on the board. It's just there's a little bit of question marks there, but like from there to all the way down to like 45, 46, 47, there's a giant mix of player that either have upside, like let's say Riker Lee or Alexander Jarovsky or Jacob Wozniak, and there's also players like Will Orkoff who have less upside but more like are more sure to play in the NHL, or other players like I don't know. We talk about Rombach or Pshenishka or Boumedian. They're all players that are probably going to play in the NHL, but they have less upside. So there's a big mix of player going from like 30 all the way to 45. And I think Wozniak is one of the players that has the most upside in there because first he's a 6'2", 6'3" body. He has skills. He skates well. Internationally, he did really, really well. In the J20, he did really, really well. So yeah, there's things to polish, but I mean, there's things to polish on every player at that range.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I love that you said that so that the comments don't come after me because Bluechip Prospect also said it. So that was a great description.
Well, he's good. I mean, anybody who watched the U18s knows that Jacob Wozniak is good. He was good there. I mean, he didn't show up in every game in the J20, but overall, I mean, there's something to work with, and that's what you're looking for. If you want to swing for upside, you need a player that has attributes to work with, and Jacob Wozniak has no shortage of that.
And to your point, for the last point on this, Nikita Artamonov, the
Yeah,
Canes actually got 34, I believe, or 34 and 50 for the 27th overall pick.
yeah,
So, and they took Vanacker, who they probably could have had at 34, and
yeah,
like Nikita Artamonov, he actually was a projection to go to the Blackhawks at 27 after they did that trade too. So it's
okay,
just kind of incredible what the Canes do all the time. They love their
yeah,
Russian players because they can keep them forever. You saw
yeah,
that. Sometimes you have to make a decision very quickly with some of these CHL guys or whatever it is in different leagues. It's 2
yeah.
years, sometimes 3, so you got to make a quick decision. With Russian prospects, you get their contract length forever. So I think that's also something that nobody really talks about. And yeah,
Yeah, and we're
but
gonna have to know what they're gonna do with the NCAA now, with when they renew the contract. Are they gonna be free agent at the end of 4 years and not the CHL player? Or are they gonna do a 3-3 for both leagues? Like something's gonna have to give, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with that. It's like even the players that leave CHL and go to NCAA, do they get this NCAA treatment where they're free agent at the end of 3 years or 4 years or whatever or not. It's like who gets the money? Is it the NCAA team? Is it the CHL team? I think there's a lot of things that they need to iron out, and then they will announce it. And yeah.
Yeah, but everybody, thank you so much for watching to the end of this this mock draft, top 32. If you guys see the rest and you see this, just comment down Bluechip Prospect or Prospect Don, who you thought did better. And,
I didn't know it was a competition.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But I think that this is an interesting thing because there's so many options you could go to, and I think that my picks were like super right every single time. It's just like my confidence and my aura. I think it's just kind of
good.
I'm just joking. There, you could go any different direction. Obviously, we didn't talk about guys like William Moore, who was one of the people that I really liked. Obviously, Eric Nilsson, and there's just so many people that we didn't talk about. So comment down below who you think should have been in the first round if you have an opinion on this, and just like and subscribe. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Bluechip Prospect, for always coming to the podcast with an incredible mind and coffee ready to go and everything else. So,
every single time. All right. Well, thank you too. See you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Peace.
Peace.